Good evening. I now call this meeting to order.
Good evening. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 1046 et sec, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the Star Ledger, El Nuevo Coquí, Haiti Progress, and Luz Americana newspapers, and by distribution to the administrative offices of the Newark Public Schools. A copy of the meeting notice was also forwarded to City Hall for posting. This is a regular advisory board meeting for Tuesday night, December 16th, 2014.
Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we please have the roll call of board members?
Chair Hassan.
Present.
Mr. Jackson. Present. Mr. Lewis. Ms. Matthias.
Present.
Dr. McCreary. Vice Chair Perrello.
Present.
Mr. Rashidi. Mr. Salinger.
Present.
Ms. Basco-Richardson. Quorum is present, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to turn over the program to the principal of Technology High School, Mr. Edwin Reyes, who will provide us with greetings and student recognitions this evening. I would now ask that all board members or individuals who are sitting on the dais to occupy a seat in the audience so that we can review the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Once again, my name is Edwin Reyes, and I am the very proud principal of Technology High School. On behalf of the Technology High School family, and believe me when I say the word family, I mean it wholeheartedly, we would like to welcome you. We want to welcome the advisory board members. We're happy that you chose our school to hold your meeting in today. District administrators who are present, teachers, other, like I said, community members, parents, and more importantly, the students that are in the audience. We're happy to have you here today. Those of you who know anything about Technology High School, you know that one of our main priorities is making sure that we have a strong academic program for our students. So I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I'm going to let, I guess, our star students that are up on the stage walk you through some of the exciting programs that we have here at Technology High School. They're going to introduce you to a few of our so all right, thank you.
All right, hello everyone. Good evening. My name is Fayez. I go to this school, and it's an amazing school, honestly. I've been privileged to work with a group of individuals to come together and create sort of a skit for you guys to enjoy. So this Now robot, it's used for two reasons: for research and education. So this Now robot, it's used as research and education for a lot of places in Europe, but more importantly for children with special needs, for example, children with autism. So we created this skit for you guys, and without further ado, let's call upon Now.
Hello, my name is Blue. We're humanoid robots, imagined and manufactured by Algebran Robotics. We come with software and we're fully programmable. We're autonomous and we can connect to the internet. Through Wi-Fi we can recognize your face, answer your questions, play music, grab objects, and even play soccer like a pro. We have more than 5,000 brothers and sisters all around the world in universities and research laboratories.
Hello, my name is Red. We have 25 degrees of freedom. The sensors located on the torso allow us to detect obstacles that we might encounter. There are 2 cameras that gives us an enlarged field of vision. Thanks to them, we can look right in front of us and at our feet to avoid walking where we should not. The 4 microphones around our head allow us to detect the origin of sounds nearby. There are 4 force-sensitive resistors under each of our feet. Combined with our internal sensor, they help us keep our balance. We can use some LVT to express various emotions and interact with you. And you, on the other hand, can use our tactile sensors on the head, for example, to pass us some information.
Well, since you can move, can you dance?
Of course, watch this.
Watch this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, since you can move, you can dance, can you work out?
Yes.
Wow, that was exhausting.
All right, so this basically concludes our small skit for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But more importantly, I really want to thank you guys for coming here and watching our little skit here. I want to thank the administrators for allowing us to do this. I want to thank my group of friends that I've honestly learned so much over we didn't have a lot of time to do this, but more importantly, more than any of that, I think I've had an enormous learning experience, and that's what really matters. So I hope you guys enjoyed our little skit for you guys, and yeah, I want to thank you guys. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, gotcha. I got Tony McCreary, right?
I would like to obviously again say thank you to Principal Reyes and also to the students of Technology High School for the wonderful presentation that they provided to us this evening. There's a lot of talk, obviously, not just in the district, but throughout the nation regarding STEM education and STEM curriculum and activities such as the one that we just saw this evening really just paints a clearer picture for the kind of work we should be doing here in the district. And we're proud to see that the students at Technology High School are out here and actually leading in those efforts. So please, Principal Reyes, thank you for the work that you and your staff are doing. And again, congratulations to the students of Technology High School. Much success as they continue with their robotics program. As we move on, we will now go to agenda item 5, approval of board minutes. Approval of minutes from the November 25th regular advisory board meeting. Do we have a motion for approval of these minutes?
Motion.
I had Ms. Matias, second by Mr. Sellinger. This is a motion to approve the November 25th, 2014 regular advisory board meetings. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Motion carries. Minutes approved.
Thank you. Next item we have is recognition. We will start off with having our parent recognition for this evening. Ms. Hamilton. It's up here. For this evening, Mr. Khalil Rashidi, who would normally make this presentation, is not here this evening. So Mr. Jackson and Ms. Perello, if you would be kind enough to make these presentations to our parents this evening, it would be greatly appreciated. They have the certificates there for you, sir. Thank you.
Good evening. Each day throughout the district, hundreds of parents are making a difference in our schools, supporting their children's academic successes by volunteering. The Newark Public Schools Advisory Board wishes to recognize and express its appreciation to those parents and community members who devote their time, share their talent and resources with children, staff, and administrators to improve the quality of our schools and the lives of children. Each month, this board will continue to recognize parents, guardians who support our district-wide parental involvement programs, consisting of activities focusing on parenting, communicating, volunteering, learning at home, decision-making, and community involvement. Nominated by their child's school administrator, we are proud to announce tonight's award recipients. Honorees: Marie Kudo, Benjamin Franklin School. Ms. Kudo, who is the most dedicated volunteer we ever had. She had demonstrated so much caring for our students and dedication for our school. Unfortunately, one of our family members were a victim of a fire last week. The minute she knew that the girl did not have anything for school, she took the initiative to come back the next day with a big bag full of school supplies and other items. Keep in mind that she is not even working at the moment. She had added so much value to the school, and this is the reason why Benjamin Franklin School agrees that Ms. Kudo deserves to be honored tonight. Next, we have Williska Beltran, Luis Marin School. Ms. Beltran is on site every day and stays in the classroom with her son. She helps out with lunch duty and is an awesome parent volunteer. She is definitely a fixture of Luis Marin School. And next we have Gina Medina, Technology High School. Ms. Medina is consistently available to assist with our staff and students with needs. She has supplied our family community with food baskets, clothing, and time. I'm sorry, this must be a typo here. She is on call for any emergencies or non-emergency situations with anything we need at the school. She treats all students as if they were her own, as if they were her own. And we have a round of applause for our parents.
2.
Over the last few board meetings that we've had, we've tried to take the opportunity to provide recognition to leadership, our leaders of our schools within our district. So this evening, we would like to take the opportunity to provide a resolution to the leadership team of Peshawn Avenue Elementary School on the successful implementation of its STEM education initiative. Ms. Barnes, Ms. Jackson, could please join me here on the stage. And Ms. Mullins. Oh, she had that same shirt on today. Okay. The resolution reads as follows. Purpose: to recognize Peshawn Avenue Elementary for successfully exposing and introducing the students to the importance of STEM technology through the Samsung Empower Tomorrow initiative. Whereas Peshawn Avenue Elementary is helping to interest girls in STEM subjects and is helping them to consider STEM fields as an option for their futures. And whereas Samsung has provided a $50,000 technology grant to increase access to STEM education at Peshawn Avenue Elementary. And whereas research indicates that unless girls believe they can do math and science by 4th grade, they will never have the opportunity to enter the STEM pipeline. And whereas a mere 18% of bachelor's degrees in computer science were earned by women in 2012, and whereas one of the quickest ways to fill this leaking STEM pipeline is to engage females in STEM subjects and careers. And whereas students in class using STEM strategies are more engaged, have higher test scores, and are able to build the types of skills they will need for long-term success. And whereas in our increasingly global society, a STEM education and the skills it develops will propel today's students towards success in college, career, and citizenship. Therefore, be it resolved by the Newark Public Schools Advisory Board that Peshawn Avenue Elementary is to be lauded for its exemplary implementation of the Samsung Empower Tomorrow STEM Education Initiative. Thank you. Would you like to make any remarks? For sure. Photo. Board members, feel free to join if you want. Next item will be the committee, not the committee chairperson's report, but the report for the advisory board chairperson. Been advised we will not have a report from our student representative this evening. I'll keep this report as brief as possible. Events that board members have attended. Immediate past chair Antoinette Baskerville Richardson visited Chancellor Avenue School on December 11th and observed professional development, which was facilitated by Turnaround for Children. Board member Marquise Lewis visited Speedway Elementary School on December 10th, 2014. Board member Phil Sillinger toured Barringer High School with Principal Mincy and also attended the Arts High School open house. Board member and vice chair Ariana Perello also attended the open house at Arts High School and also attended the First Avenue Holiday Show. Vice Chair Perello also attended the Thanksgiving dinner at Sussex Avenue School along with me. I, as chair, attended Peshawn Avenue School's STEM event with Samsung on December 5th, 2014, and served as a judge for the WOW event through the Citizen School Organization, which was held at Chancellor Avenue School on December 11, 2014. And I also represented the Newark Board of Education at the board meeting for Newark's Education Trust. Our board was recently provided with the 2013-2014 CAFR results, which is our annual audit. And I'm proud to announce that Newark Public Schools have received an unmodified opinion, which is the highest audit rating that can be provided. I'm also proud to announce that the Newark Public Schools District has earned the Certificate of Excellence in Reporting and the Meritorious Budget Award for the 2013-2014 school year. This makes 6 consecutive years that the district has received the Meritorious Budget Award and 12 years running for the Certificate of Excellence in Reporting, with 10 of those years being consecutive. Our school business administrator will provide a full report for the community this evening. As we know, the budget season is upon us. I met with Superintendent Anderson yesterday to discuss the process for our budget development. Our budget committee will begin our discussions next month, starting with our budget to actual performance for the current school year. A full calendar for the budget cycle will be provided to the full board at next month's meeting. Lastly, our board is responsible for submitting an assessment of the district's performance by February 1st, 2015. This assessment must be submitted to the State Commissioner for Education, Mr. Dave Hespy, and also Superintendent Anderson for Newark Public Schools. A formal letter for information request will be submitted by the close of business tomorrow. Each committee chairperson has been requested to submit in writing to me an information request that will be forwarded to the district once it's compiled with the requests that have been submitted from the other committee chairs. So ends my report. Are there any questions from any board members regarding the report information that was just provided? We now have our Newark Public School District report. I'll turn it over to our school business administrator to provide the results of our CAFR audit and our enrollment data. If we could, board members, take a seat in the audience to see the presentation.
Good evening, Board Chair Hassan, members of the Advisory Board, members of the community, and staff. This evening, I will be presenting the district's report, and we will be including a number of areas. With regards to our framework for success, everybody has seen this before. This evening we will be focusing on 2 areas that have to deal with system-wide accountability. We want to be sure that we have standard approaches to tracking students, schools, and system success and progress across all schools. And we will also deal with systemic conditions for success. So we want to radically transform NPS to ensure that it is a high-performing organization for years to come. In the area of system-wide accountability, this evening I will be presenting to you the results of our CAFRA, our Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. It is in fact an audit that is prepared by our external auditors and is required by all school districts in the state of New Jersey. That CAFRA was due to be submitted on December 5th. I'm happy to announce that it was presented on time. And let's talk about what the CAFRA is. As I've said, it's a comprehensive annual financial report. It is in fact a set of our financial statements that provide for the board and the public a thorough and detailed presentation of a school district's financial condition. Our CAFRA is actually about 350 pages. There's also a summary that the board has received and a management report. In New Jersey Administrative Code, we are required to issue the CAFRA, and it must be submitted to the New Jersey Department of Education on an annual basis. Because the district is a large district and in fact receives in excess of $500,000 or more in federal financial assistance, that includes our Title I funding, any funding we receive from the federal government associated with the district, and other areas, we are required to comply with what's called the Federal Single Audit Act. And it requires that other kinds of audits and information must be reviewed during the CAFRA. We are audited by an independent certified public accountant and in accordance with government auditing standards, locally known as GAS. When the CAFRA is performed, it reviews many different areas. On this slide, you will see a list of many of the financial areas. So payroll, which is approximately 80% of our actual budget. You will see that we look at the board secretary and treasurer's reports over the year. Those are presented monthly to the board. We look at procurement. We look at our food service operation, which is about a $28 million operation and is also an enterprise fund that has to pay for itself. We look at pupil transportation, and we also look at special education, among other areas. The audit is performed by an independent auditor. This year it was performed by Wiss & Company, and it was due on December 5th. Meeting the date requirement also fulfills our requirement for New Jersey Quality Single Accountability Continuum, known as NJQSAC. So if a district does not submit its audit report on time, it can in fact lose those points on its QSAC review. So that's extremely important. There are three possible opinions that you can receive once you have received an audit. The highest and best type of report from an external auditor is an unmodified opinion. It means that the auditor doesn't have any significant reservation with respect to matters of our financial statements. There are no irregularities, and they were able to receive all of our financial statements, and they have been fairly presented, and our operations appear to be in good control. Does it mean that we are perfect? No. The second level down would be a modified opinion, where either of two things are true. The financial statements are materially misstated in one or more particular account balance, class of transaction, or disclosure. And the auditor would be unable to obtain evidence regarding that particular account or transaction and would have reason for concern. Remember, when an auditor reviews our books, he or she is performing in a professional capacity, and their certification is also on the line. It's like a registered architect signing off on a drawing or a mechanical engineer signing off on some kind of design. The worst opinion that we could receive would be an adverse opinion, which determines that our financial statements are materially misstated. So that would be when you consider them as a whole, they don't conform with the generally accepted accounting principles, which is known as GAAP. We received an unmodified opinion. That is a really good thing. It puts us in a good financial picture if we were to look to borrow money, if we were to look to compete in any way for financial grants in terms of our stability. It indicates that our statements have been prepared using generally accepted accounting principles. It shows that our statements comply with all statutory requirements and regulations, and there is also adequate disclosure of all material matters relevant to the proper presentation of our financial information and subject to statutory requirements where applicable. There are no instances of non-compliance or other matters that are required to be reported under government auditing standards, and these audit requirements are prescribed by the Office of School Finance in the Department of Education in the state of New Jersey. In our auditor's opinion, we complied in all material aspects or respects with the types of compliance requirements that could have had a direct and material effect on each of our major federal and state programs for the year ending June 30th, 2014. So let's talk about some of the positive highlights associated with our audit. There were several areas where we had zero findings. In our food service area, in our treasurer's reports, in our unemployment compensation and insurance, in our classification of expenditures, in our facility and capital assets, even in our pension payments, which is TPAF, Teachers Pension and Annuity Fund, that reimbursement. All matters in those areas were in good standing. We had a reduction in the number of minor findings that we had this year. Last year we had 17. This year we had 9. Those findings were some repeats, and they were in the areas of employee records and benefits, our purchasing area, our legal costs, and our transportation reporting for students with disabilities. We have had a continuous record of unmodified opinions, and it should be noted by both the community and the board that this is a significant contributor to our ability to be eligible for the DOE to consider us for local control of finance, which is happening this year. Other additional highlights. The board chair talked about the fact that we've received the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting and that we have also received the Meritorious Budget Award. What is important to know about these awards is that they are issued by the International Association of School Business Officials. So it's not just the Association of School Business Officials in the US. This includes districts in Canada, Australia, all over the world. And what is also most notable is the fact that until this year, our district was the only district to receive the Meritorious Budget Award in the state of New Jersey. That is something which my staff and I are extremely proud of. This year, 2 districts received the award. Excess fund balance. This is money that we have over and above what we need to operate. So if you look at the statute, the state says that it is recommended that a district should have 2% of its budget available for emergency needs. That 2% for us results in approximately $17.4 million. And we should have that set aside. It's not available because we say it's an emergency. In order to access that money, we would have to be going into a deficit situation, which means our expenses exceed our revenues. We would have some major catastrophe in one of our buildings, and that would have to be requested through the DOE and the Commissioner of Education. This year, our excess fund balance, and in other years, is always used from the pre-budget year. So last year's excess fund balance was used to offset this year's budget gap, any increases we might have in property tax for the current fiscal year. Our fund balance has decreased overall from the prior year. If you look at these 5 lines, it indicates that in 2013-14, we had a significant amount of fund balance that was available and utilized from the 12-13 fiscal year. That was the end of some of our ARA money, Ed Jobs money that you might be familiar with that came from the federal government. And as a result of the NTU contract being funded externally, we were able to take the money that we put aside and pour into the district to offset layoffs and other cuts. In 2014-15, we had approximately 50% less in excess fund balance from the prior year. That resulted in our being able to bring $18.2 million to this year to offset cuts. In the 15-16 year, it appears that we will have an excess fund balance of $4.9 million. That will be a significant reduction from the 13-14 school year and from the 14-15 school year. It will be a challenge to balance our budget, to offset rising costs. And some of the reasons for our fund balance decline are rising costs in fringe benefits and pension costs. I'm sure everybody's read the newspapers with regards to the New Jersey pension situation. We continue to have aging facilities that have not been replaced. The maintenance for those facilities is coming out of operating funds and is not available through capital funds or through the SDA. And we continue to have to bring our classrooms to 21st century capacity. So the technology upgrades, if you remember, a couple of months ago, about 2 months ago, we voted on lease purchasing for PARC, which is the online testing that will begin in March of next year. That particular initiative is costing us in the neighborhood of $5.5 million. We were able to put $2 million from the budget towards that 5.5. We got approximately $460,000 from the state for that initiative. So the balance has to be made up by the district, hence the lease purchase that we will be doing. The presentation of our audit is required by New Jersey statute, that the CAFRA be made public, presented to the district board, that a board resolution, which is on this month's agenda, to accept the CAFRA by the board, not to agree with it, not to change it in any way, but to accept it. Next month, I will present a corrective action plan for the findings that we've had, and a board resolution will be put on the record for the board to accept the corrective action plan, which also has to be submitted to the state. The CAFRA will be posted on the district's website along with the corrective action plan within 30 days of receipt. And both the CPA firm and myself are responsible for the certification of the CAFRA on the NGA DOE homeroom, and I can tell you that that has been completed. The corrective action plan, it must be taken and has to address all audit findings. Additional corrective action plans have to be submitted in the area of grants for all of our federal, state, and local grants, all of our spending, our actualized spending, as well as our allowable spending, and in the area of repeat findings, we are now required to submit a separate corrective action plan, all of which will be made public. How we develop our corrective action plan is by bringing together a team of departmental experts and their leadership, and they are convened to address all elements of the corrective action plan. The action plan must be associated with a timeline, resources that are responsible for the development of the action plan, and accountable parties are assigned. All plans must be accepted by the board, and plans are monitored both by the Executive County Superintendent's Office and other governmental agencies. So if an agency comes in to review Title I, They're going to look at that audit and look what were the findings in the Title I area. If somebody comes in to review our E-rate spending, they're going to look at that. If they come in to review special ed, they will look at the CAFRA as one of the items that they want to see, and they'll look to see that we've implemented the corrective action plan that we've developed. And that concludes my information on the CAFRA. In addition, this evening, in terms of system-wide accountability, let's talk a little bit about our enrollment data. Our enrollment data was due to be submitted to the state also on December 5th. I can tell you that that was done on time and completed. Let's look at some of the trends that we see in our enrollment with our K-12 students. We actually have seen a 6% decline in the NPS enrollment from 2013-14 to this year of 14-15. At the bottom of the chart, you will also see the numbers from the 12-13 school year through the 16-17 school year of what the charter and district enrollment will look like. For 14-15, our enrollment, the charter number is 12,700 students, and in the district, it was a projection of 31,000. We're actually about 35,000 for district. The charter number is in fact accurate. You will see that in 14-15, 29% of our district is occupied by charter schools, and the district has 71% of the children. This chart is also important, and you might ask why it ends in 16-17. When charters were given approval or chartered, they were given a 5-year period. That period ends in 16-17, and you can see what the projections look like in terms of district and charter and what our enrollments will be looking like. Actually, for 14-15, we saw an increase in new family enrollment, but overall, our enrollment declined by 3%. We saw approximately 1,200 students decline in the NPS K-12 enrollment since 13-14. And you will see those numbers if you compare the top, the first bar that talks about projected NPS K-12 enrollment and move to the right. You will see that in fall 2013, we had approximately 33,200 students. This fall, we are down to 31,100. That was projected. And we can see actually where we've gone to in fall of 2013, we had 36,141, and this fall we are at 34,933. So we're a little bit above our projections. In the charter, we see that they appear to be almost on target. In fall of 2013, they were projected to have 11,000 students. They had 10,869. In fall of 2014, we projected 12,700. They actually have 12,902. Yeah. We saw an increase in new family K-12 enrollment to NPS in 13-14, which was approximately 665 students. We also had 1,900 more students enrolled in pre-K since 10-11, which is an 11% average annual increase. And those numbers are listed below for comparison. Sources for this information were the district's student information system, which is called PowerSchool. We see the ASA submissions for 10-11 and 14-15, both for NPS and private providers. We also see the NPS ASA submissions for 13-14 and 14-15. And we also see that the NJDOE Charter School Aid Summary for 13-14 and 14-15 were used. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the report for the district.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you for the report. Prior to us allowing for questions from our board members, I want to take this opportunity and this time to acknowledge our mayor, the Honorable Raz J. Baraka, who's here with us this evening. And at this time, I would like to exercise my rights as president of this board to extend the opportunity for our mayor to bring us any remarks this evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Is this thing on? All right. Thank you. Good evening. Happy holidays to everyone.
Good evening.
I just really had a few questions that I would like to ask. I just was on my way to another community meeting, and I stopped by here first. So just a few questions that I had, particularly based on information that I've gotten recently. Just wanted to address the school advisory board around these issues and see what we can do to help bring some of these issues to light, begin to abate some of these things around the city. We are getting a plethora of calls still downtown around student placement, still an issue. We're still trying to abate those over and over again. There's a few kids, particularly in the East Ward, who do not have English as their first language, who are still without a school placement in December, and I am concerned about that. Of course, I promised one of the parents the other day that I would address it, and we have been addressing concerns like that every day, but this is beginning to be outrageous at this point that kids are still not in school, and we would like that to be addressed as much as we possibly can. And then specifically, some information around the Barringer STEAM Academy. We have information that there are over 50% of the teachers there are substitutes, in fact, in core areas, 13 math classes, 11 science classes, 3 SAT math classes, 3 English classes, 3 Spanish classes, and 10 electives. But I'm concerned about those other classes, particularly in a park year where kids are going to be forced to take this park examination, and I'd like to know what the board's position is on that and what the school district itself has in place to support the principal. I know that we have been, it's been characterized that the administration here is against specific principals, but that is further from the truth. We're trying to give principals the support that they need to be able to run the schools in a way that we think is successful and efficient for children. Being a principal myself, I know how difficult it is to run a comprehensive high school. So when you have over 50% subs in your classes, I know it's difficult not just on the academic side, but also on the social cultural side as well. And that becomes a lot more telling because the school is a priority school. Is listed as a priority school. And all schools that are listed as priority schools by state law has to be supported by the regional assistance centers, or RACs. When I was the principal, I enjoyed a SIG grant, a student improvement grant from the federal government. As a result of that, the state gave us SIG coordinators, which we learned a lot from. We went to state meetings in Trenton. We met with other turnaround principals. I was able to travel and do all kinds of other things to be able to help support the school academically and socially. I think that Barringer deserves that. If we list it as a priority school, or any school that's called a priority school in this district, the law says that the regional assistance centers should support these schools. And if that's not happening, then the law is being broken here in the city of Newark. And we, as an advisory board here, need to speak loudly about the kind of supports that principals are having in order to make their schools effective, right? And the RAC is a mechanism that this administration and Trenton put in place to replace the SIG process. So I would imagine that this state superintendent board of education supports that process, and they would agree with the mayor and the administration that Barringer needs the support of a RAC and all other schools that are listed as priority schools in the city of Newark. I'm also concerned about, and I just saw some enrollment data here that was given to us. It was pretty general to me. I just like a lot more specific data around the enrollment, not just enrollment, but student attendance as it relates to enrollment. And as it relates to One Newark, how many kids left the district as a result of the One Newark plan and went on to other schools, thereby reducing the amount of money that we have on hand, increasing the kind of deficit that the school board has because of One Newark, meaning that One Newark facilitate the exodus of students, and did the school board or the advisory board anticipate that, and if so, did we prepare for that in our anticipation? The last piece is the park readiness that I'm deeply concerned about, given the issues that I've been dealing with as the mayor of the city, and most of them are just parent complaints. And parent complaints because parents expect the mayor, of course, to do something about what's happening in a state-operated district, and I understand their frustration. So we entertain them and listen and try to do what we can along those lines. Most of it is around the things that I talked about. One, the inability to get into a school, and some of them are not in school. Two, the idea that kids are still dealing with substitutes in their class, enormous volumes of substitutes like at Barringer. And if that's the case, I don't see how we are going to say that these kids are going to pass this test in any stretch of the imagination whatsoever. So are we throwing in the towel, saying that Barringer and schools like that are not going to pass the park examination? We know that already. Are we saying that? And what is the plan as it relates to that, given the circumstance that the school is in? Is the district prepared to opt out of the park examination? Are they prepared to say we're not ready for the park examination on a district-wide level and say we want to opt out, or are we going to put our kids through a process that we know that they have not been prepared to pass? That's one. And secondly, technologically, are we ready in terms of making sure that all our kids have access to computers to be able to take the park examination and be able to navigate the tests, because it is a timed exam, and just being able to navigate the computer takes time if you have not done that already. And what are we doing to prepare kids and administrators and teachers to be able to just administer the park examination and kids to be able to take the park examination at the same time? So what I'm bracing myself for in Newark is the kind of school district-wide kind of failure that may happen, a shock. I mean, there are districts around the country that are bracing themselves for a shock around this park exam. And so I would like to know what our strategy is as it relates to this park examination here in the city of Newark, given the convoluted process that took place in the beginning of the school year, the delayed in school time in some schools, the lack of scheduling, the amount of substitutes that exist in core areas, the inability for us to provide the technology for all of the students to be able to take the examination. the lack of preparation that we've given administrators and teachers to be able to give this test. And frankly, I'm not confident that given this situation, our kids will do well. So I have been talking to folks about what it would mean legally for the district to say we want to opt out of the park examination this year. So I think that that's something that we should seriously consider amongst other things here today. And, I wanted to speak to you. I knew the superintendent wasn't going to be here. I know she's somewhere else. But I wanted to speak to you. I didn't come here to speak to the superintendent. I came to speak to the advisory board and the people on the advisory board, specifically around these particular issues, and try to get some responses, some answers around some of those specific things. I don't expect you to answer me tonight, but hopefully in some kind of formal response we can get from the advisory board as it relates to strategies around Barringer and the RAC and any other school that's been declared a priority school, and why they're not getting the assistance of the RAC, because it makes no sense to me, given the, when we look at the Renew schools and we look at other schools and the fact that they're not moving in the direction we need them to move in, why aren't we getting them the assistance that the law provides them to have under priority schools? Right, so that's important to me, and hopefully I can get a kind of robust response as it relates to that. As well as all of my issues around the enrollment and the park examination. So thank you for your time, and again, happy holidays.
Mr. Mayor, obviously you do have our commitment from this board to have a response, formal response to the questions and the concerns that you brought forth to us this evening. I will try briefly to provide some context to the best of my ability based off of some of the things that you've asked about. We talk about the enrollment. We were provided with the projected charter enrollment that the state projected, and that was at 13,456 students for a projected district payment of $214,268,529. The actual enrollment that we received, and this is for K through 12, showed that enrollment for the charter schools was actually at 12,902 students, and that the district payment is at $213,947,129. Obviously, that's, it's not a major difference, but it did come in lower than what this state projection was that was provided to us. We understand from a board perspective that with the growth of charter schools, obviously that's something that continues to have an impact here on the Newark Public Schools budget. We continue to see that growth in the charter sector for the last 5 years. And to be honest with you, it forces us to do some things, maybe remove things from the table from a budgeted standpoint and a funding standpoint. And these are things that our budget committee will be working through and looking at starting next month as we begin our budget cycle. So we'll be able to provide additional information when I go back to the district. In regards to our park readiness, this is a subject that we've discussed as a board. Being honest, in our position, I think that there's a lot more work that we could be and should be doing from a board perspective. There's a lot of information in regards to park implementation, the impact that it has to school districts, not just Newark, but school districts throughout the state of New Jersey. And as a board, I think we discussed this at the last board meeting. It's imperative that we get out to the community and provide them with this additional information. I think there are pros, there are cons. We speak about our technological advancement and our ability to administer the exam. As a board, we have approved the district to go out and actually secure the devices for our students. I will say that from a technology standpoint, the implementation of PARC, from my perspective, has forced us to go down a path to implement devices in the classroom for blended learning, et cetera, which is something that we probably should have been doing 2 years ago, to be honest with you, because these are things that have been rolled out in school districts throughout the state. While the PARC assessment in and of itself is another test, but I do think that it brings another element that our children desperately need here in the city of Newark, especially when we talk about things like STEM, as an example, providing our students with the technology and the ability to learn and to step outside of the box. I think those are things that we need, and I think the first step was obviously making sure that we approve the district to go out and secure those devices for our students. The district Over the course of the summer, I had the opportunity to attend a training that took place at Science Park High School for park readiness. Now, I don't know if that was a mandatory training, but when I was there, I saw a low attendance from teachers. And again, I don't know if it was mandatory or if it was something that was voluntary for teachers to attend. But these are questions that obviously we can vet through our program and instruction committee and provide that to you when we deliver a formal response to you. In addition to that, I will say when we went down to attend the workshop this year for school boards, as a board, we received a lot of additional information regarding the park readiness and what the park actually means to students here in the state of New Jersey. The park is not going to be a graduation requirement for at least another 3 years.
Right.
But I do think that it does add additional pressure to students, obviously, and to our administrators. We have to make sure that they're prepared. One good thing that I think will come out of it once we reach the stage of full implementation, and this is something that was reported by Commissioner Dave Hespy, there is an agreement between the State Department of Education and the colleges and universities in the state of New Jersey, declaring that once the park assessment is a graduation requirement, that any student in the state of New Jersey who passes the park assessment will not, under any circumstances, have to take any entry-level courses when he or she goes into college. And I think that's something that is a benefit to students because students graduate from public schools now, and I think we see this in Newark. Our students graduate at times, and they end up taking entry-level courses when they go on to college. So again, I think there's a lot of discussion that needs to go forward, Mayor, and I tried to obviously provide some context based off the information that I have.
Yeah.
But again, we are committed to providing a formal response to you as requested this evening,
Thank
sir.
you. Just one last piece when you said that. I am concerned about how the test is used. So I already know that the test is not going to be counted for graduation at this point. But what I am concerned about is how people characterize the city based on how we perform on this park examination, which is how they've been characterizing us as it relates to other state-mandated tests. So when we take this test, how is the city going to be viewed and characterized, and it's going to be used as a weapon against the Newark Public School District when we have not been prepared to effectively take this examination. That's just my fundamental concern. And I think that we need to talk about that. And then in terms of the preparation for the district, in terms of charters, what I'm saying is if we anticipating amount of kids are going and we're losing, we anticipate a loss in money, how are we then looking to replace that money outside of just downsizing? So we have thousands of kids that are not in school. How are we going after those kids to bring them back in school, to bring money back into the district? What kind of innovative and creative programs and strategies that we are doing in the school system and to retain kids? And how are we improving the schools that we have so there is no long march towards schools outside of the district? So we've been saying over years that kids are leaving the district, kids are leaving the district. I haven't heard the district say yet what our plan is to retain kids in our district no matter what happens around the city. So I would like to hear that strategy, and particularly it probably has to come from the people who work on that, and I'm asking you guys and ladies to go get that information and bring it back to us here in City Hall. But more importantly, that the RAC is fundamental and it's the law, right? So if anything else can't be done, then we at least have to enforce state law, right? State law says if the schools are priority schools, they have to be attached to a regional assistance center that comes with training, that comes with workshops, that comes with scaffolding, it comes with all kinds of programming that help the superintendent, but also help the principals in those schools maintain the kind of academic readiness that they need to maintain. And then the board should be speaking loudly about the level of substitutes that exist at Barringer High School. When I first heard that, I was compelled to come here to say something because, I think that it's a travesty that exists, and we need to be doing something as expeditiously as possible to kind of give that principal the assistance that she needs. Because if she doesn't do well, then what's going to happen is the community is going to come after her, and she's not going to have the support of the administration here and the board. Nobody's going to say anything. Then we're going to be trying to replace her, and it'll be the principal number 7, that's out of this revolving door that's happening over there. So she needs support right now on the ground to help her do what she needs to do in that school. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Before we go into our voting items, board members, at this time I would ask for a motion to enter into executive session after our public participation.
Before that motion, are we going to have a presentation on the enrollment piece?
Yeah, for us to ask questions, yeah.
No, I just mean because it's just a part of this presentation. It was done at the business meeting, but it wasn't done today.
The enrollment was done.
Oh, it was done?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay, so,
Before we do the questions, can I get the motion to amend the agenda so that we could do the, so that we
okay,
could go
but then
into
I want to
executive
speak back to
session.
this
And then
issue.
we'll go to the questions for the
Okay.
presentation, if that's okay. Executive session is for us to actually receive an OFAC report from the state along with the corrective action plan from the district. The reason that I'm requesting that we go into executive session is because it actually involves personnel matters as a result of this report from the state's investigation.
So it would be a motion to amend the agenda to enter into executive session to discuss the OFAC report under the category of attorney-client privilege and personnel.
second.
Second by Basketball Richardson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Motion carries. Agenda amended executive session will be number 13.
After public participation, yes.
Item
Thank you. So getting back to the reports, the floor is now open for any board members who have questions regarding the district's report that was provided to us this evening. Mr. Jackson?
Didn't I have my hand up?
Just,
I'm sorry.
well, I kind of.
Dr. McCreary, you had your hand up earlier. Did you still? No, Ms. Baskerville Richardson, Mr. Jackson.
Okay, thank you. So,
He was. Ladies first.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Do I have the floor? Okay, so I just wanted to say that I didn't, I guess I missed it, that this report was given on the projected enrollment, and I'm also shocked that after the business meeting, when this 2-page presentation was given, and there was so much commentary, and I know I certainly raised a number of questions, and so did other board members and people in public participation, basically saying that this was an overview and that we wanted detailed information. And I had expected that there would be a lot more than this 2-page overview, and that these statistics here would be broken down, as I said clearly in the business meeting, so that the board members and the public could actually visualize what the enrollment looks like in the district. So I think the fact that that was not done it's disgraceful. I mean, how do we come back today with the same report that we said was not acceptable last week? So maybe that's why I missed it.
So, we received an email with a memorandum with the follow-up items and highlighting the requests that we made at the last meeting. And on that memorandum, it was listed that that's going to be referred to the Program and Instruction Committee, and that they are going to receive the data in that committee, and then it'll be shared with the rest of the board.
Okay, then perhaps it should have been removed. Maybe it should have been removed, because I just don't think that this should have been presented again.
Okay. Mr. Jackson?
I wanted to know, in terms of enrollment, what department does this fall under? And the reason why I'm asking is because I know for me, I've been kind of confused within the past few months of what falls under whom.
Currently, at this point in time, Mr. Jackson, enrollment falls within the Department of Financial Strategy and Planning.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Perello?
I just want to echo basically what Ms. Basketball Richardson said as far as that the data wasn't presented properly as we should have expected, being that we did raise, numerous questions and concerns. But on top of that, I just want to know, what are we doing for next year's enrollment? Because I don't want to wait, or actually the community should not wait to receive a memo as to they should start registering students in the month of January based on, under the One Newark plan, and we're in December and have not received any information. So moving forward, we should receive that piece of information as soon as possible, so we do not encounter what we encountered last year with the introduction of the One Newark.
Any other questions or comments from board members? Mr. Sillinger?
Yeah, I'm just hoping next year there won't be a One Newark plan.
Any other questions, comments, board members? There being none, I will receive this district report as information. We're now going to our voting items. Our first items we have listed are for our program and instruction. Do we have a motion to vote on these items as a consent vote with one block?
Motion.
Vice Chair Perello. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Salinger. It's a motion to vote on the program and instruction items as a block. Moved by Vice Chair Perello, second by Mr. Salinger. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstain or oppose? Motion carries. Motion to vote on the items.
Motion.
Mr. Jackson.
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Perello. This is a motion to actually vote on the program instruction items. Moved by Mr. Jackson, second by Vice Chair Perello. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Motion carries. Program instruction items approved.
We'll now ask for a motion to vote on our finance and operation items, to take these items as one block vote.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Jackson?
For P7, I just request that we don't vote on P7 as a block.
That's item 16P7.
Teacher evaluation services?
Yes,
You have you ask that we don't vote on, or we vote on it separately?
we can vote on it separately.
You have any questions, anything, or anything that you want to ask that could be answered tonight by anybody from the district?
No, sir.
Okay. Any other board members have any concerns or questions with that particular item? So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to vote on the finance and operation items,
1 through 16, 18.
items 1 through 15, and items 17 and 18 as one block, and item number 16, which is P7, teacher evaluation services for peer validations, to be voted as one separate item. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Jackson. Second by Vice Chair Perello. This is the motion to vote as a block on items, finance items 1 through 15 and 17 and 18. We're excising item 16. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Okay, motion carries. Do we have a motion to vote on those items?
Motion.
Mr. Jackson. Second, Vice Chair Perello. This is, yes.
You can state this.
This is a motion to vote on items 1 through 15 and 17 and 18. Roll call, Mr. Hassan.
Yes.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Lewis. Ms. Matthias. Dr. McCreary.
Abstain.
Ms. Perello. Mr. Salinger.
Yes.
Ms. Basketball Richardson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Items 1 through 15, 17, 18 pass. Remaining item is number 16.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Jackson?
Second, by anybody?
Do I have a second to vote on number 16? This is a motion to vote on item 16, so. Okay. Mr. Salinger on that? Okay, we're voting on item 16 now. Mr. Jackson?
No.
I'm sorry, I wanted to, I had a question on the motion before we vote, so I wanted to ask Mr. Jackson the reason why you pulled that item. I mean, why you asked for that item to be separated out.
Yeah, no problem. This is going off of research that I've done with a few teachers who worked in the district, and just going back, looking through the vendor and researching. I did not have a good feeling on voting voting for the item, or voting in favor for the item, rather.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? regarding the
Yeah,
item?
so for my clarity and everyone else's, could we just have just an overview of what
what it
this
is?
item is?
Yeah, so I can provide the details. This was actually sent through the Personnel Committee because it's something that is agreed upon with the teacher contract. Peer validation is a part of it. And not every educator in the district receives a peer validation. It's basically an additional evaluation that's conducted on educators in the district. And it's also used to calibrate, as an example. So there's a third-party provider who conducts these evaluations. They also get paired against what the teacher evaluated those particular, how the teachers were evaluated by their respective principals. And the reason for this request is that the district wants to expand that. So last year, the district conducted 256. This year, they want to expand that to 450. This information is obviously what was conveyed during the personnel meeting and what was provided in the report that we received last week. When this initiative first rolled out, the pool or the sample pool of evaluators were folks who received ineffective ratings, but now the district, to my knowledge, that has been changed so that there's more balance across the board for all 4 ratings and not just for a particular group of employees within the district. The report that we received, it shows us exactly which schools within Newark Public Schools received the peer validators, and it also gives a breakdown of what those ratings were that were provided by this third-party entity who conducted them. And this is also something that was a part of the Race to the Top grant application. So something that Newark Public Schools stated that they will provide, obviously, with receiving this grant funding. And Ms. Wilson, correct me if I'm wrong, this is not a request for NPS to do additional spending or supplementing anything, correct? As far as
Repeat your question, I'm not sure I understand.
The P7, the peer, the teacher evaluations and peer validations, this is just for us to supplement the expansion of it, correct? From the 256 to the 450.
Yes, that's my understanding. And what we've also been able to do is to realize some cost-saving measures, because when we first began this, like you said, people came from out of state. Now we're training and ensuring that New Jersey-based administrators will be able to perform this work. Last year, we did approximately 250 peer evaluations at a cost of $358,000. This year, we are intending to do 400 of them at a cost of $445,000. So that indicates that we're getting it at a more effective and cost-effective price, I would say.
Any other questions? Dr. McCreary?
Yes, sir. And these evaluations are used to provide insight for teachers and/or administrators in what specific capacity?
My understanding, and Dr. Perkins, you can assist if I am incorrect. My understanding is that peer evaluations are used when teachers receive evaluations, and let's say there is in some cases, maybe a difference between the various evaluations they've received. Let's say you received 2, from two different people, and there are some differences in that evaluation. A peer or someone who I guess would be deemed almost an expert in the area comes in and provides an evaluation, and I don't have the details associated with that, but somehow all three are considered in determining what the final evaluation is. Is that correct, Dr. Perkins?
That's correct. That's correct, as well as what Chair Hassan shared earlier. It's just an opportunity as required by the teacher contract to ensure validity and reliability by providing another outside expert opinion on particular evaluations. It's meant to enhance the reliability and validity of these evaluations that teachers are receiving.
So this is, in essence, this is something that the union bargained for,
Correct.
agreed to, and voted for when they accepted the agreements of the last contract.
Right, explicitly stated in the contract that was agreed to, correct.
So I have talked to people, teachers who had some kind of negative evaluations, and then they did get a better evaluation from the peer evaluator. I'm not saying it's like that in every case, but I have talked to a couple of people who had that experience.
Any other questions or comments from board members? If not, I'll call for vote.
All right, so we had this motion moved by Mr. Jackson, second by Mr. Selinger. Mr. Jackson, you keep your no vote? Okay. Dr. McCreary?
I apologize. No.
Okay. Vice Chair Perrello?
No.
Mr. Salinger?
No.
Ms. Baskel-Richardson?
Abstain.
Chair Hassan?
Yes.
Okay, that did not carry.
So I just want to state for the record, by us voting no on this, if General Counsel could provide some clarity in terms of what this means as far as our compliance to our agreement from between Newark Public Schools and the Newark Teachers Union in delivering these peer validations.
I am not going to be able to, first of all, good evening, everyone. I don't think I can give you a cogent answer at the moment. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if this puts us in a breach of a contractual obligation. I will need to review that, but I'll be looking at that forthwith.
So, may I, Mr. Chair Hassan? Then my only question then would be, in theory, right? In theory, what would the usefulness be to ask the board to vote on something that would then potentially put us in a negative contractual agreement if it just doesn't seem logical, right? So it's either
Actually, I think I can give you a very simple answer to that particularly. Pursuant to state statute, this is a procurement action. So it's a contract. So what we are bringing before the board, as you probably are aware, procurement items that fall under the 36,000 threshold are not obligated by law to be put forward by the board. The district can have its discretion to enter into those agreements. This clearly is in excess of that threshold. So by state statute, we are obligated to bring this before you as a procurement item so that we are not in breach of that particular violation of any law. Clearly, with respect to the merits of the actual item, that's a separate issue from the fact that it's a procurement issue that must come before the board.
The other answer to that is based on the transition plan that we have in place for the return of local control, the district has to bring forth every disbursement coming out of Newark Public Schools to us. And that's the reason why it's brought for us to vote.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
If this is, a contract agreement between NTU and the district. Can I have that in writing?
It's part of the memorandum of understanding.
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Jackson.
It is in the October 18th, 2012, which is widely published on the internet. You just have to Google it. The NTU put the contract on its website. It is one of the provisions within that contract.
That ends our, if there are no more questions about it, that ends our vote on any other questions?
So I have a procedural question, and that is, I understand it clearly that the board has voted and that the resolution did not pass. Procedurally, is it possible for this to come back?
Procedurally, yes. So we could do it one of two ways. We could put a motion on the floor to rescind the vote now and then vote on it again, or we can put it on the agenda for a rescind vote at next month's board meeting.
Okay,
But when it comes to that, if we do a rescind though, I would obviously refer to General Counsel and the New Jersey School Boards Association, but the vote may or may not be able to pass with just a simple majority. It may be like a three-fourths of the voting members present. I just have to get clarity on that, but yes, we can go back and vote.
Okay, so, and I don't know what anyone else is thinking, but I think there may be a need for more clarity to the board members, particularly around the looking at past what the record has been, how the peer validators how this has actually affected educators. So I think there just may be a need for more clarity. I think the other piece, though, is what else happens procedurally by us voting this down at this time in terms of, the role that the superintendent plays in overriding a vote if the superintendent chooses to. So I just would like that we could all be clear on what happens next.
So if I may, what I would, clearly I defer to the will of this body. However, what I would like to suggest, if there is further information that might give you better deliberation on this most recent vote, I would encourage you respectfully to consider to rescind at this meeting. You have your quorum, you have your capacity to do so for the following two reasons. One is if further information would help you decide in a more informed manner, either way, doesn't matter if it's a yes or no, then I think that would be due diligence. The second issue is pursuant to the transition plan, as Chair Hassan can attest to and other members that were present and involved in that creation, this does have a procedural element to it. So should the superintendent seek to veto this, it does put us in a procedural time frame upon which, as this board recalls from a prior circumstance, where there has to be writing submitted to the commissioner. The board has the opportunity clearly to delineate and respond in terms of their view, and then ultimately the jurisdiction in reference to the commissioner will determine whether or not to allow the superintendent to exercise the veto power that she would carry on his behalf. So I would just respectfully submit and actually request that if more information might assist you, that you consider before we leave today to perhaps withdraw or rescind this particular vote, only so that we don't get into what might be an unintentional procedural issue, because there are time frames associated pursuant to that transition plan that compels everyone to go forward in a procedural manner that may not be the intended consequence.
So based on the information that we just received, there's still obviously uncertainty or unreadiness from board members to vote this item up or down. I would recommend that a motion be made to rescind our vote and to table the item until further information is provided to the board so that the item can be voted either up or down at the next board meeting. And obviously that will be the pleasure and the will of the board.
So who would have to make a motion procedurally? Who would have to make a motion to rescind the vote? Is it the maker of the motion, or?
Anybody other than me.
Is there a motion to rescind and table this item?
Yeah, I abstained, so I can't go.
If there's no motion, I mean, it should move
No,
on.
no motion? Okay.
All right, very well.
Okay, that item fails.
We're now going to our public participation.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is the public participation portion of the meeting. As a reminder, time limits for all speakers are adhered to. There is no sharing or granting of speaking time to others. Speakers must be present when their name is called. Speakers are required to give their names and addresses. The public participation portion of the meeting is limited to 1 hour and 30 minutes. Examples of unacceptable behavior that are not permitted include but are not limited to naming district employees and engaging in personal attacks, slurs, excessive loudness, calling out, yelling, generally disruptive behavior, attempt to disrupt the meeting, or inciting others to do so. Public participation in these meetings is intended to allow individual members of the public the opportunity to address the board, the administration, on issues of public concern, not as a forum for two-way dialogue with the board members. The superintendent or designee or board chair may respond to questions either at the end of the session or responses may be provided at a later time. The superintendent's designee or chair may interrupt any speaker or terminate any speaking privilege if the comments are disruptive or obscene. An individual may be cautioned that a personally directed statement may be slanderous or defaming, and the individual may be liable for his or her comments. Attempts to hijack or filibuster the proceedings, repeated interrupting or badgering the board or district officials, repetitive and truculent speech, or disregard of the rules of quorum are not tolerated and may subject the individual to removal from the meeting. If necessary, the meeting may be adjourned.
First speaker for this evening is Diane Cotto, followed by Veronica Branch. Nobody made the motion. Oh, no. Pardon us one moment.
No problem. Take your time.
You want to come back to that?
After?
That's fine.
All right, we'll go after.
Yeah.
You have the floor, Ms. Cotto. My apologies to you.
Not a problem. Thank you, Mr. Hassan. My name is Diana Kudo. My address is 29 Stratford Place, Newark, New Jersey. First, does the board have answers to my questions that I posed at the business meeting last week?
I'm gonna have to say no. I don't have any answers provided from the district at this point in time.
So we still don't know who's paying for Cammie's buses for her new student union, huh? Or how many children were transferred back into the district from the charter schools after they received their check on October 15th? Or how many children are going to be staring and sitting at computers for 4.5 hours while children take their park exam? Because that's corporal punishment, which is against the law. Or the fact that there's still a shortage of teachers at Barringer. Barringer has too many issues. And unfortunately, at this point, I've come to the conclusion that nothing shall change at Barringer until someone is either seriously hurt or dies in that building. Because as of last week, there have been 3 riots, a brandished firearm inside the building, whether it was from the student taking the gun from the officer or the officer branding the gun. We have no clearance, we have no clarification as of yet, and as the school says, nothing happened. Yet I have numerous students coming to me and asking me questions. Another thing, because the board is very well at making presentations, can we have a presentation on the percentages and categories of all legal cases in the district for the last 10 years and compare the last 5 to the previous 5, and why, if any, increase, and how do we fix the issues? So regarding Barringer, I don't know what you guys are gonna do, but they are so in need of security that it is crazy the issues that are going on at that school and nobody notifies parents. Again, I'm gonna say they're using the gym. Somebody is going to get hurt. Not only is somebody going to get hurt there, you can't officially have a gym class in an auditorium where it looks like this, where they're playing basketball or soccer or air hockey for that matter, where they're doing jumping jacks or push-ups or running laps, which is a requirement, am I correct? Because it was when I was in school. How are they running a mile? How are you examining that if you're doing it in the auditorium? No answers, huh? Nobody has an answer. Why are the children only allowed 20 minutes for lunch? They sit in the library for 20 minutes, they're in the cafeteria for 20 minutes. They have 20 minutes to get online, get their lunch, and eat it. I don't know, but that's not enough time for me. Is it enough time for you to eat? Or is there no answer? Again, our children don't matter, right? That's what we're down here for, because our children don't matter to this district. They're numbers, percentages, really, because they don't even have numbers, because you can't even pull a report. It's very easy. Power School is a Windows-based system. It's called hit the report button, and it'll give you a report on whatever it is that you're looking for. Attendance, grades, categories, everything. Every little thing it can give you a category on. Parents still don't have access to Power School. It's December. Where is the transparency? This is disrespectful to parents, and we're highly disrespected. And we're not going to keep standing, looking at you guys and saying, can I get an answer? I've been screaming since September. Do something about Behringer, please, before somebody gets seriously hurt. And I hope to God it's not my child, because you're going to need 15 more law firms, not 12.
Thank you, Ms. Cordell. Next speaker, Veronica Branch, followed by Donna Jackson.
Are we ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Veronica Branch, 121 Leslie Street. Okay, I trust that this board is working on the restatement of Burgore Avenue School. Okay, let's go. Madison Miller, Maple Avenue Annex, Newton Street, Newark Vocational, Alexandra, Roosevelt Avenue, 18th Avenue, Dayton Street, Burgore Avenue, Bridges High School, Westside Nav, Weekway, no incoming freshmen, Behringer 9, Samuel Berliner, the only special needs elementary school, the newcomers program, attendancy officers, truancy officers, substance abuse counselors, department chairs, tech coordinators, all eliminated. Over 1,000 employees eliminated in a child study team downsized. Almost 300,000 given in raises to too many unqualified individuals with Teach for America, AKA Walmart degrees, including Cammie Anderson herself, who was not certified to be a superintendent. These are the schools and the programs that have been closed and dismantled under Cammie Anderson's leadership, displacing thousands of children and increasing unemployment. Our children, teachers, and schools deserve better leadership than what we have now. We need a leader that respects the parents, children, and teachers of this community, and not one who disrespects and dismantles communities. The Renew schools, which are regarded as Cammie's babies with her hand-picked staff, have fell far below than some of the worst schools in New Jersey. I say all this to point out the fact that we do not have a leader, but rather a failed doctrine that will go down in history as one of the worst policies that ever existed. It is past time for this board to stand up and speak out against the attack on public education and Cammie's failed leadership. Cammie is nothing more than a Teach for American failure that will do no good for this city. Board chairman, I call on you to take a petition to end these failed policies and do what's right for the children of the city. In the words of Dr. King, there comes a time when your silence is betrayal. And let me point out, Park, unless you have taken it, we are not taking. These 3rd and 4th grade children are not sitting for 4 hours trying to navigate through a computer system that's not even ready, that has not even been field tested. Common Core is a failure, and this whole district will be opting out of Common Core. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Branch. The next speaker is Donna Jackson, followed by Tawana Sheard.
Good morning. Donna Jackson, 128 Smith Street. I am disheartened that there was even a conversation that took more than 5 minutes at the business meeting to discuss opting out of testing. It should have been unanimous, it should have been a no-brainer, and it shouldn't even require it. Pass, yes, we all gonna opt out. We don't care that Cammie gonna veto it. Our letter of opting out already has state approval. We don't care what the commissioner says. We already have approval. Every parent has the right to opt their children out of testing. However, what you guys don't continue to have the right to do is not inform parents when testing is occurring. For example, we've already done the ANET. We've already done 2 practice parks evaluations. We've done SATs, PSATs, 7th graders told to take the PSAT with no parental consent. That is as harmful and as outrageous as the sexual survey that went home with the 6th graders down in Ocean County. First question being, have you ever had sex? Second question was, did you tell your parents? Third question was, did you use a contraceptive? And if we think that's appropriate for 6th graders, well, that's what Common Core is. A bunch of nothing on a piece of paper. Now, if you are so legislatively inclined, then get to it. I need to see something with legislation. Mr. Hassan, I told you I was gonna leave you alone. But if you don't get your head together about this testing, if you don't get yourself on the computer and try to take the park exam, to understand why we're not taking it and should not administer it. I don't wanna hear you again say, we purchasing devices. Who is we? You ain't asked me. You didn't ask no parents. We can't keep having you, the board, whoever agreed, making decisions without parental consent, without community consent. It is clear in this district that Ms. Anderson is going to run us. We in the Passaic River already. We just at level 10 feet. She getting ready to take us down to level 30 feet below sea level because we continue to allow her to operate with no obstacles in the way. This is everybody's fault. This is all of our faults. Board members better learn how to sit through a meeting. You ain't got nothing else to do tonight that's more important than taking care of the business for our children. I have a question for all board members, and I don't want to hear you can't answer it tonight, because if you don't, then I'm going to take it that means no. How many of you are certified? Board members. Done the training, have your, answer when I'm finished. This camera can't see you. Because if you've been on this board more than 5 days, if you've been on this board long enough to have done the training to get the credits, I need to know if you've done that. Because then I know if you're committed to our children. Because the part of moving this forward, the part of moving us back to local control, with the exception of people who just got here and haven't had enough time to get the credits that they need to be certified, nobody else has an excuse. Because this is an unpaid job, but it is a job. And we expect it to be done well. We expect you all to get out as we do in my closing and get all the information that you can. The country is against Common Core. People are standing up against Park. I don't want to hear one more board member have an itch or inkling to say we're going to do it because we already destroyed. You have no certified teachers. In Barringer, you don't have them anywhere. You don't have certified teachers in this building. You don't have certified teachers in university. You don't have certified teachers in science. Every school right now in closing is in compromise because you have taken all the certified staff and let Ms. Anderson and Krispy Kreme and Corey sit them home at $25 million to us, but failure of instruction to our children. You have sat. This is on your watch. That our schools have been taken from certified schools to uncertified simply because of the staff that is in there. And when I come to the next board meeting, I will give you the list of every principal that you will fire, and that's why the buildings are not doing as well as they can, because a poor leader makes a poor building.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. I'll answer the question for you. Every board member that's currently serving on our on this board is in compliance with the mandated training that we have to take through the New Jersey School Boards Association. But I'm the only certified board member serving on the board. There's a difference between the two. And I will say, Ms. Jackson, point you brought up about us obviously getting as much training as possible is very important to us, and I will say that collectively as a board, we've been doing, in my perspective, we've been doing a great job of trying to get that additional training, especially for our new board members who come on this year. They've been actively engaged on the county level for the New Jersey School Boards Association, also on the state level, and And we also have a technical assistant who's here in the audience this evening who's been partnered to work with us and who's been delivering training modules to us collectively as a board also. And we've completed 5 out of the 11 training modules that we are set to complete as a part of that development plan. The next speaker for this evening is Maureen Robinson. I'm sorry, Ms. Tawana Sheard. I'm sorry, Ms. Sheard. Followed by Maureen Robinson.
Tawanda Sheard, 93 Sly Street in Newark. The bus shuttle that's going on at the hubs is a joke. There are children as small as 7 to 8 years old that's taking New Jersey Transit to get back and forth to school. Who is approving these bus transportation applications? Because I spoke to a parent that has 2 children. One child is going to the hub to get the bus to school. Another child, they told her that the parent is responsible. And sometimes she walks from Hawthorne Avenue all the way to West Side. And I think that's just ridiculous that one child can get the hub, but the other child can't. I want to know what teachers in Newark Public School is certified. My son goes here to technology and he's a senior. I received a letter saying that some teachers are not certified in particular subjects. And I thought all teachers that taught in Newark Public Schools were certified. The other point I want to make is in Hawthorne Avenue School, for 2 weeks, there's no heat in the TCUs. Those are temporary housing that's supposed just for it's been there 2 years, but it shouldn't be there. I know a student that has been in a temporary room in another building for heat. It's been 2 weeks already. And my daughter is also located in that TCU. My final point is that if 2 students jump another student, to my knowledge, I thought that regards 5-day suspension. But from what I learned from another parent, the policy was changed last week, where it's only given a 2-day suspension. If that's the case, then parents should have that in writing. As far as Camden Street School, from what I heard, the gym teacher is not certified. Like I said, everybody that teaches in Newark Public Schools should be certified. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sheard. Our next speaker is Maureen Robinson. Darren Martin. Van Ness Roper. Julissa Vasquez. Noah Carter. Deborah Smith Gregory. Followed by Belinda Jackson.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Smith Gregory, and I serve as the president of the Newark branch NAACP. I attended the business meeting last week, and I thought that there would be more explanation about various items that were brought to the board last week. One of them being the enrollment data. There should have been some specific enrollment data and attendance based on the One Newark. The same thing that the mayor spoke about, how many left the district for September, October, November, December. I've put in writing 3 months ago now, October, requesting report on the transportation system for September, October, November, December, how many students are actually taking the bus, how many buses are being deployed, how many students are riding in the morning, how many students are riding in the afternoon. To date, I have not received any of that information, and as I said, I did put it in writing. The mayor's talked about the park readiness, and it's been my experience with this superintendent that the ACT was dumped on the students when it was first initiated. Now it will be the park. The school business administrator gave a report about the annual financial report and stated that 80% of the budget is on payroll, and that the technology upgrades were $5 million, but there are still some basic needs for instruction that are missing. The smart boards aren't working. There's a need for textbooks. And then the question becomes, if in June 30 of 2014, where did the bonus money originate that was given to the schools? Additionally, these failures of the superintendent seems to be a failure of our governor, since she sits at the pleasure of our governor. So it brings to mind the governor who is running for the Oval Office. Is the same governor who allows this superintendent to have these poorly implemented issues in this city, predominantly occupied by brown and black children and residents. And we can't continue to come here month after month. We're coming to both the business meeting and the public participation meeting. And the superintendent continues not to come. And I'll say the same thing that I said at the business meeting. School business administrator Wilson and legal counsel Hitchcock do a fine job of reporting for the superintendent. However, there is only one superintendent. There is only one leader. And it seems to me that the leader is only answerable to Trenton, to the governor. So if we start connecting the dots, we see that the superintendent's failure is actually the governor's failure.
Thank you. Next speaker, Belinda Jackson. Belinda Jackson. Belinda Jackson, followed by Kathleen Witcher.
Good evening, board members,
Good
administration. My name is Belinda Jackson, and I'm a child study team social worker for Newark Public Schools. I haven't been here in a couple of years. I've just been sitting back trying to figure out what I can do differently. Right now, I want to talk about structured learning environments for special needs students that lead to careers and opportunities. And since I really haven't seen anything come from anywhere else, I've decided to be the agent of change. I work in the community in East Orange and Newark, and so I get to meet local people. And because we have a career and college and career readiness network in East Orange, I had an opportunity to meet the owner of Quality Dental and connect with the One Stop Career Center, who had put out an RFP for in-school career opportunities. So I had the opportunity to sit with my principal, and we all know that this has to be board approved eventually and superintendent approved, but I didn't have time to wait, so I'm good at apologizing for doing something positive. But I did sit with my principal, and he thought it was a great idea, so I decided to partner with Quality Dental and come up with a 120-hour program, 16 weeks on Saturday, to provide an opportunity for our students to earn a dental assistance certification, a national board certification that they can use in any state in this country. We narrowed it down with 120 hours. We use the occupational outlook, which is talking about a 30,000 position or job growth in the tri-state area, 8,640 job creation in the dental assistant program. And it's also a program that leads to increased opportunities and higher level of employment. The occupational money outlook is $24,000 to $48,000 in this area if a student receives a job in this program. When we developed the program, we considered the national best practice Department of Labor programs under the disability enforcement policy and mastering soft skills in the workplace. So the whole program has in it the ability to address disabled students. The target population will be serving seniors because you have to be 18 years old to take the exam. 50% will have seats for special needs students, and I've personally reserved 5 seats dedicated to Technology High School, hard of hearing, or should I say students with hearing disabilities in our school. Our students must leave with something, certification, whether they're going to college or not. I have several students who said to me, well, I'm going to college, Ms. Jackson, why do I need this? I said, if you get a dental assistant certification and you go to Syracuse University, you can walk to a dentist's office and say, can I work here part-time while I'm in school making $11 to $12 an hour instead of McDonald's? Also, it's an opportunity for our students who are, have hearing impairments to go to a dentist's office and say, I not only speak English, Spanish, but I also do sign language. We have 19 offices already approved to service our students and a 40-hour internship as well as job placement after they finish our program. And the program, the best part of the program is that we're going to service students 12 months after they graduate from high school to make sure that we keep them active and if they need our support. Sorry that the bell's going off, but this is good news, so we're going to keep talking. Okay. It was $105,000 we applied for. We're waiting to hear, but if we don't get it, I'll be back and put a full proposal in front of the board and anyone else that wants to hear it. And the second thing, we have one more. I have kids that worked in the construction program. They were 18 years old. We got them working on the weekends because the young men needed to raise money for the prom. That teacher no longer works from Newark because he got a $20,000 jump to go somewhere else, but he was a special needs English certified teacher and he has a construction company. That's my next program. So thank you and have a great day.
Ms. Jackson, do you have anything that you wanted to provide to the board? Like
not at this time. I have the written proposal, and the reason why I'm waiting is because it is in another location at One Stop. And I want to make sure that if it's approved, then I can bring it to you. If not, I'm going to bring you the whole program. I also want the lady from Quality Dental to be part of it. But I just thought this would be an opportunity to let you know that we got proposals out there, and I will be happy to bring it to you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I didn't want to do it without doing this first.
Thank you for sharing that information with us tonight. Thank you. Our next speaker is Kathleen Witcher, followed by Hope Jackson.
Kathleen Witcher, representing the Southside Malcolm X Shabazz High School Alumni Association, 80 Johnson Avenue, and also tonight, the New Jersey NAACP's Education Committee. A number of concerns, and I hope you let me finish, because in October, you changed the date. I was signed up to speak. I couldn't make the Monday meeting. First, we request the written policy regarding PTAs and PTOs and other parent associations. A complaint has been given that the principals are now allowing the liaisons, parent liaisons in their schools to select the presidents and officers, and that is against the bylaws of the PTA. Number two, April 17, 2012, the court ruled non-compliance and special needs for the district in terms of testing and placements. To date, we have not seen the remedies implemented. We'd like an update of the remedies for special needs testing and placement in the district as soon as possible. October 23rd, a hearing was convened. I did not see anyone representing the district in East Orange at the East Orange Board of Education when other school districts talked about concerns that they had with the same kind of thing, compliance with IEPs and special needs provisions. This district was cited this year, 2 years later, April 2014, out of compliance by 68%. not acceptable. Next, Wednesday, January 7th, 2 p.m. at the State Department of Education, 1 Riverview Plaza, there will be an opt-out rally. Montclair, in this county, Board of Education voted to opt out. We need to opt out. The readiness report for Newark shows 50% readiness in technology. We don't need much more of a discussion. We know that at least 18 states in the United States have opted out of parts testing. Next, at Malcolm X Shabazz High School, there is a need to have sufficient school budget to include 100 more ninth grade students. There is need to expand the staff who teach the students at the school. There could have been 900 instead of 800 students at the school. And to remark, the football team won the sectional championship in Group 1 on December the 6th. Also, the NAACP questions the implementation of Amistad curricula K-12. That's mandated, and we would like an updated, a written report on the implementation of Amistad. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Richard. The next speaker is Hope Jackson. Denise Cole. Mr. Lyndon Brown, followed by Wilhelmina Holder.
Good evening, Lyndon Brown, 220 South 6th Street, Newark. First, I want to just extend holiday greetings to everyone. I want to congratulate also our state champions, the Malcolm X Shabazz football team. And I also want to congratulate the South 17th Street School family who represented us well in Washington, D.C., where they met President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden. They did a phenomenal job. We're very proud of them. I want to invite the board to come by on January 10th between 9 and 12 to give greetings at our citywide training, parent leaders training, which will be held at the Marion Bolden Center on January 10th. So please come by and give greetings to all of our parent leaders, where we'll be offering training for presidents, vice presidents, secretaries, and treasurers. Again, I want to stress the importance of our students having school IDs. We had students take the SAT 2 weeks ago, and a lot of them were turned away, and particularly from Westside High School, because they did not have school IDs. This is the second or third time this has happened. This is putting our children behind the 8 ball when it comes to their college admissions process. Some of them are going to be delayed in getting accepted to colleges because they have yet to take their SATs. Not all of the students get free and reduced lunch. Some of the parents are paying out of pocket for their $50 registration fees, and they're being subjected to having the doors closed in their faces because they don't have valid IDs. And we have other machines working at other schools that can provide IDs for our students. We're asking that the board make sure that that happens. I also want to talk about school safety issues. We had some students from Barringer who were beaten and robbed on December the 3rd on Springfield Avenue and Hayes Street. And then on Friday, we had some other students beaten from Bard and People's Prep, and that was in the paper actually and on the news. We need more security. All of these robberies and cell phones and assaults are taking place at exactly 4 p.m., just 10 to 20 minutes after our kids are getting out of school. So we're requesting more security for our students to safeguard them to and from school, but in particular around the Hayes Street section in that new community area. I also want to talk about the climate and culture of our schools. We need to have more celebrations of our students here at the Board of Education meetings. We miss that. We miss having our students recognized for great achievements. And despite the fact that our superintendent is not here, the board needs to recognize our students when they're doing great things. Recognizing the parents is good, but our students need these incentives and rewards because a lot of them are not getting them at their local schools. So board members, let's do our due diligence and recognize our students when they are doing well. Parent-teacher conference day was a hardship for a lot of parents because they had students in multiple schools. But we do want to, thank the district for at least giving parents the opportunity to come out and meet their child's teachers. I think there should be some clarity, though, to the schools individually. Some of the schools have dinner from 4 to 5. Some have dinner from 4:30 to 5:30, which causes the parents to be locked outside the schools for an hour. So those schools need to make sure that, and those principals need to make sure that when you're having that lunch hour, that the parents are aware that from 4 to 5 or 4:30 to 5:30, there's a lunch hour, because some students have to go to multiple schools. Some parents have to go from one high school to a grammar school, and the dinner time kind of makes it a hardship, especially since a lot of them don't have transportation. Again, I want to talk about the turnaround model. It's just a dismal failure. We really need to look at, dismantling that program in our renewed schools. It is not working. We've had food fights the past 2 or 3 weeks. We just had a kid run out of school yesterday at 11 o'clock in the morning. I thank God for the parents who caught that student and brought him back to school, unbeknownst to the school administration and staff that he even left school at 11 o'clock in the morning. Conflict of interest for our renewed school assistant superintendent. He is not able to really judge our administrators in an unbiased manner. We have schools that have chronic failure for 3 years in a row, 20%, 18%, 17% proficiency on the NJAS. It is dismal, and we need to see some changes in administration at some of our renewed schools. Thank you again, and have a good holiday.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, when you mentioned the school where the dinner is taking place and parents are locked out if they're transitioning during that time, what school is that?
That's every school sends out a flyer that says that parent-teacher conference day is from 1 to 7 p.m. But it's not 1 to 7. It actually should be 1 to 4 and 5 to 7, or 1 to 4:30 and 5:30, so that parents are clear. If you get to a school at 4 o'clock, you have to wait till 5 o'clock because the schools are locked. The staff sit in the cafeterias eating, and parents are not aware. We have a lot of new parents in the district who are not aware that there's an hour lunch break, and it needs to be clearly specified to the parents who are coming from different parts of the town. The One Newark plan has parents come across town, standing outside, and can't walk all the way back home and then come back again. So it was a hardship.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
You're welcome.
They should be allowed to wait in the school.
Speaker, Ms. Wilhelmina Holder, followed by Sean Williamson.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Happy holidays. If we can say that, certainly our children are suffering. On my way here, I was able to help, I think, a parent whose child still is not in school. I just want to bring that to the board's attention. I need you to get some information out of One Newark enrollment. How long is the average wait before a parent is allowed to have their child enrolled at school? Because they're told they have to wait. There's no room. Now I'm told they're told not only is there no room at the high school, but there's no room at the elementary level. So parents are sitting home waiting for, quote unquote, the call. And so I think you need to open that information or go there yourself and find out what is the average wait. How long does it take to get a child enrolled in school? Ordinarily it'd be a day or two under the old system. Now we're talking weeks, and some are not even enrolled as of this date. The other issue that we have, and you need to pay attention closely to this, I'm going to name some states for you: Oklahoma, Missouri, South Carolina, Florida, Pennsylvania, Iowa, Indiana, and these states have opted out of Common Core, the Common Core, and some of these people were the ones that implemented and fought, the governors fought to get Common Core in there. While we have a governor who's probably insecure in his education policy, which is wreaking havoc for us. But the board needs to look at the park assessment and to make sure that's an opt-out in the resolution that you tried to pass last week. Now, if you go on to Montclair or Bloomfield, I asked you to do that, they have written a resolution, because the other issue is when the parents opt out, those children are sitting in those classrooms for 20 days, approximately, by the time you get through the entire park assessment, and there needs to be alternate instruction in place for those children, because children will be going to school and we don't want them watching videos for 20 days. especially since we have, in a case like Barringer, more than 50% of the classes are being taught by substitute teachers, and that was verified. So the board needs to get some real-time data, and I text some of you. I was at the Project Grad Nation Summit, where the superintendent did indeed roll out data that she claimed was unavailable to you the week before. She did cohort data, and I was amazed. I wrote a note to myself. I texted some of you and said, I can't believe the superintendent is rolling out cohort data in a presentation to the group that she said was not available to the board. So the board really needs to press down on the attendance data, the enrollment data, because if she can give 3 years cohort data on who graduated, then she looked at the entire picture. She just didn't look at those people, those graduates. And the numbers decreased, and it was strange. The numbers were kind of strange based on the information that we had received earlier. So I would suggest you open, and I think the best thing, and I said this to you, board chair, that the board has to do something different. Get an education attorney. I told you we can help you with that. Get an education attorney, because you're gonna need one. They have the information, and they're refusing to give this information to the board and the community. And it's in violation. And the other thing we need to look at is how much money has been eaten up in the litigation costs that's preventing our children from having books in the classrooms, because the one book that's being used in the entire district for English language, the common book that's being used for 9 through 12, was written at the 6th through 12th grade level, and they're using it in the honors, they're using it in the magnet schools, and that is a crime. I talked to Daniqua Matthias about this, and hopefully there will be a follow-up, because I think 2 things should happen: that the board should demand that you assess the that book in terms of how credible it is in terms of its use for language arts, and compare it with what's being used elsewhere, who approved that contract, how they got that contract, because it's dumbing down language arts instruction in this district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holder. Ms. Holder, the book that you're referring to, yes. Can you give us the name?
It's written by Houghton McNally. It's on my phone. It's the book that's being used currently for language arts in the entire districts, all grades. I checked with the principals. I saw the book. I had it last weekend, and there's a supplement that's with it. It's common elements or something, but I'll pull it up from my phone. I think I sent you an email about it earlier, but it's being used at university for honors classes, it's being used in the magnet schools, it's being used in the comprehensive schools, and it's written at the grades 6 through 12 grade level. And that's the one I called other districts, people I know in other districts, assistant superintendents, and they're laughing at us. They're saying, what in the you know what, and how did that happen? Okay. So I'm asking the board, this is not the first time I've asked you to investigate that, and I did send you the email, and nothing's being done. Something has to be done. Our children are being dumbed down. There's no way a book that was written for grades 6 through 12 should be the only language arts books that's used for curriculum in this district.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Holder. Next speaker, we have Sean Williamson, followed by Cheryl Crawford. Sean Williamson, Cheryl Crawford.
Good evening. Cheryl Crawford, 320 South Harrison Street, apartment 6M, East Orange, New Jersey. I am a retired teacher from the Newark Public Schools. I was an 8th grade ELA teacher, and then I retired as an ELA coach. I was also a union rep and a union VP. My granddaughter came from Jacksonville, Florida, and my family moved here to Newark. Last year, she was in 8th grade at Avon Avenue School. As a union officer, I represented teachers with DIFAS for physical abuse. The 8th grade students at Avon experienced emotional abuse. They were constantly told, you're not going to have a prom. You're not going to have a graduation. If your parents go to the Board of Ed, they can't make us do anything. I felt like I was living at Avon Avenue School. As an 8th grade teacher, when I was in my beginning days, I know what it means to students and to the parents to give a prom, to have a cap and gown at graduation. I know what it means. Emotional abuse, in some cases, is worse than physical abuse. It doesn't go away. Doesn't go away. I went in spite of, you know something? I met with the 8th grade team. I met with the administration. And I saw what my granddaughter was telling me about their lack of caring. I saw. In spite of their negativity, I gave them money for the yearbook, for the prom, for the cap and gown. I gave them money. As an 8th grade teacher, when graduation was over with caps and gowns, students and their parents came back to our homeroom and we gave them their report card and their diploma. That didn't happen this past June. My son got my granddaughter's report card in August. He had to go to the school and get it in August. I paid for a yearbook. We haven't received it yet. We haven't received it yet. Now, I came here being nice. I waited and waited. I can't be nice anymore. You're gonna see me from now on. I'm gonna be the Cheryl Whitley Crawford that I used to be. My granddaughter is now in the Newark public school system. This means a lot to me. I cared about the teachers. I cared about the students. But now my heart is more into this because my granddaughter goes to school here. And if administration cannot do anything, let me say this again, excuse me. If you guys can't do anything about your principals and vice principals, what are parents and students gonna do? As aggressive as I am, I couldn't make Avon's administration do right. Report cards in August only because he went to the school. If he didn't go to the school, there would be no report card. We still don't have a yearbook. Please, you need to look into Avon Avenue School and the emotional abuse that children and parents receive there. Again, the administration at that school says there's nothing you can do about them. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Crawford, do you have additional information? You don't have to go on the record with this, but if you're going to be here after the meeting, if you have specifics, names of educators who have partaken in these this abuse of the students, as you stated to us this evening, if you could sit and wait till the meeting is over and provide that information to us, it would be greatly appreciated.
I will sit and wait to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Portia Lowry, followed by Gwendolyn Booker.
Good evening. Portia Lowry, 90 Tiffany Boulevard, apartment 100, Newark, New Jersey. Earlier, Tawana talked about Candace Street School and not having certified teachers to teach gym. And she's absolutely right. There are 2 teachers, substitute teachers actually provided instruction within the gym room at Candace Street School. Earlier, we heard our mayor discuss parks and his concerns about the parks assessment. And we heard Donna also express her concerns. But you're still talking about the general ed population. You're not talking about the special needs community. I know many of you have siblings who are special needs. You probably know people that have special needs or a close family member. And I think it baffles me that you don't actually support or actually have a more interest in the special needs community. So we're opting out of the parks, but we also should opt out of that alternative assessment, which is the dynamic learning maps. Previously, in previous years, our special needs received placement letters. And it actually had the times of instruction from 8:20 to 2:55. A large number of people within the special needs community did not receive placement letters with the time. So what happens when, in the previous years that our students had times from 8:20 to 2:40 to 2:55. Now they're at these renewal schools that goes longer on inside the day. There's a conflict with the placement letters from the previous years because they don't have a placement letter for this year. So that's one. Diane talked about Power School, and a lot of parents don't have information to actually go on Power School to review their kids' grades. And I can honestly say that I've received one letter, Power School information for one of my sons, but I didn't receive one for the other. So I can't access the Power School for him. I'm surprised that many didn't talk about the grading policy. According to the policy, grades in all core subjects are to be determined through the use of these guidelines, which is 65%, which is assessment, curriculum-embedded quizzes, unit tests, midterms, final exams. 25% should be derived from classwork and participation, and 10% should be derived from the homework. However, what about our special needs community? Best practices is 80%. Let's say a student has 75% mastery level. That's the benchmark. So that 75% to me would be their 100%. But again, they're being assessed based on the grading policy of that 100. So their IEP is in violation, and it's a big concern. So the grading policy, the benchmarks are out of compliance with that. A couple parents asked me about the grading and appeals process, and I had to explain to them that first they have to reach out to the teacher, next they have to reach out to the administrator, and then they have to reach out to the assistant superintendent if they don't get the results that they wish. However, in order to change grades, we don't have a tech coordinator at the site. Then you have to go to the administrator. What if they can't change it? I mean, who do they go to actually change the grades within that system? So we have these issues here, even with the attendance and not putting in the accurate information for attendance, but we don't have the attendance coordinators or anybody to assist with that. So we have a lot of issues with the Power Schools, the placements. I requested an updated version of Title 6A, Chapter 14. I haven't received that. So there's a lot of issues that's actually going on in the special needs community. Also, I had a conversation with Mr. Garrison, which is the principal at Camden Street School, in reference to inclusion. And what he told me was like, yeah, guess what? A teacher has general ed cert, and she has special ed. Guess what? I can use her for the inclusion class. No, you cannot. That teacher can only be hired in only the position of the general ed teacher or the special ed teacher, but that teacher cannot be hired as both. But someone needs to talk to him and explain to him that he can't use one teacher for an inclusion classroom. So those are my concerns, and like I said, I'm speaking on behalf of the special ed community.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lowry. Next speaker is Gwendolyn Booker. Linda Smith. Alicia Green. That concludes our public participation for this evening.
Mr. Chair, I think there was some talk from the board to revive a motion.
Before we do that, I just want to make one point of clarity regarding Ms. Jackson's question for certified board members. I do want to highlight that board member, our Vice Chair, Ariana Perello, she has accumulated the necessary credits from the training, and she will be receiving her certification at the end of the year. The New Jersey School Board Association, they only give those awards out at one time during the course of the school year. And we do also have 2 additional board members who are on track, meaning that there are enough training opportunities available for them to receive that certification by the end of this school year as well, if they do it. Daniqua Matthias, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the other one would be Marquise Lewis. But it's definitely, I know Ms. Matthias, I think it's Mr. Lewis, the other board member.
All right. Again, board members, item 16 failed. I believe there was some interest in a motion to rescind that vote and table the matter to the January meeting.
So I would like to make a motion at this time, if I can, to rescind the vote on P7 for the purpose of allowing board members to get additional information for all questions to be vetted and for the issue to go back through the committee process and be given its due diligence and then brought again to the entire board for consideration. So simply, my motion is to rescind the vote that was taken today on item P7.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Bashford-Richardson, second by Dr. McCreary. Roll call. Mr. Jackson?
No.
Dr. McCreary?
Yes.
Vice Chair Perrella? Yes. Mr. Salinger?
Yes.
Ms. Bashford-Richardson?
Yes.
Chair Hassan?
Yes.
Motion carries. That item is rescinded, go back to committee and tabled.
Thank you.
I have a question. When will we get the information?
So, yeah, but specifically, so this is a copy of the report. This was given out to, it was placed in the package, or at least on our positions at the board meeting last week. We might have overlooked it because it wasn't colorful like this, which is a black and white copy. But this is the report that the company provided from the work that they did last year. What additional information, aside from this report, will we need from the district? I know, Mr. Jackson, you specifically had questions about the verbiage in the contract, right?
Again, my research that I did involving this contract and involving the person that's going to fulfill the contract, revisions learning, just doing my research. Again, this is my own research and my own understanding. I did not feel comfortable with voting in favor of this.
Mr. Jackson, is your objection, is it vendor specific or is it the concept?
Pretty much both, but basically the vendor.
Okay.
So may I just make one suggestion? I mean, I view that the burden is on the district to provide the information. Obviously, if we don't, we're going to be in the same position, and I understand that that would be the reality. Why don't I make this recommendation? And I'll own this particular task of doing this if this is an agreement. Can I seek to arrange, as we have done in some other occasions, a conference call so that members of the board can participate, and then the burden on the district is to have the adequate personnel there to answer questions so that at least you can receive the information for the actual vote to be taken?
So I would say if we are to do that, obviously we can only have 4 board members participate in that conference call. And my recommendation would be specifically that if that happened, the program and instruction committee chair and the personnel committee chairs be present on that. I myself, as chair, I think I have enough information to move forward. And if there's any other board members who feel that they don't need additional information, then that can be a venue to get this done. If not, then it should be referred back to our program and instruction committee so that they can have an opportunity to vet this information. It's already going through personnel committee already.
Suggestion. Obviously, I'm not seeking and violating the sunshine laws with respect to that. If it is also easier, then we can do one-on-ones. I mean, my view on this is that, again, the burden is on the district to provide all the answers that are necessary to give you an informed decision to vote whichever way you choose to. So if an individual call is sufficient, if that's easier, more convenient, then the arduous task would be on the district to provide that.
Can we have board members submit their questions, have a deadline for board members to submit their questions, and then by whatever means, the questions and the responses are shared with the entire board so that everyone has the same information? I think that would probably help resolve issues.
Absolutely. So I would say that board members provide their questions to the district, send them to Shawea Hamilton, and submit those within 48 hours from today.
So, I'm sorry, they're not going to go to the committee chair, so we're not, I'm just, for clarity, we're not.
I mean, if we want to vet it through the committee, then, yeah, obviously, we can send them to the committee chairs, and the committee chairs can make the request if that's
Mr.
easier for
Hassan, can I
everybody.
make?
Yes, ma'am. I want to convolute it.
Sorry. Can I make a suggestion? Since you are pushing it back to the Program and Instruction Committee, it probably would be easier to submit the questions to the committee chair, have them addressed in committee, and then the entire conversation be provided to the rest of the board in time for the board cycle of next month.
Got you. So by doing that, we're just basically moving it from the Personnel Committee to the Program and Instruction Committee, and then the Program and Instruction Committee is going to come back and give a report on it like the chairperson for the Personnel Committee did at the last business meeting. That's what we're doing right now, so I'm okay with that.
So I think there may be some questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I appreciate the comment. Thank you. So are we in agreements for that, board members?
Yeah, I think that's fine, but I mean, some of the questions that come up may not be curriculum, so they would just get referred. I mean, as long as the questions, people's questions get answered.
Very well. I'm completely fine with that. So we refer the questions that you have to the committee chair, so Program and Instruction, so that this can be vetted in that committee.
I believe item 13 is now the executive session.
Do we have a motion to now enter executive session?
I'm sorry, before we go, could we just take a second and to just recognize Jordan Thomas and his parents who are here?
Absolutely. Mr. Thomas served as our last student representative on our board, is now now attending Princeton University, representing Newark Public Schools. It's a pleasure, obviously, to see you here. And thank you for all the work that you did serving on our board last year and being an active voice for the students of Newark Public Schools on the critical issues of education and education equality.
Okay,
Do we have a motion now to enter into the executive session?
Okay, I have Baskerville Richardson.
You.
Second by Mr. Jackson. This is a motion to convene into executive session for matters within the attorney-client privilege and personnel, specifically OFAC report. The board, I think, will be returning to take action. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? We're going to go into executive session.
This meeting is now back in session. Mic check, 1, 2, 1. So why we don't even need the mic?
Yeah, so they can.
Okay, got it. For the record, our board just received a briefing and a presentation on the OFAC report that was provided by the State Department of Education. Our board was also briefed on the district's corrective action plan in response to the OFAC report that was submitted to the district by the State Department of Education. Our general counsel has advised us that the report will be made public and will be published on the district's website tomorrow. At this point in time, I will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution regarding the OFAC report. And if you could, please, General Counsel or someone read this into record prior to board members making a motion or voting on it.
This is a resolution regarding the OFAC report. Whereas the DOE's Office of Fiscal Accountability and Compliance, known as OFAC, has completed investigations into testing procedures at Abington Avenue School, Rafael Hernandez School, Hawkins Street School, Benjamin Franklin School, Alexander Street School, Cleveland School, Newton School, and Roseville School within the Newark Public Schools. Whereas OFAC has generated reports that concluded that there were security breaches and irregularities in the testing process. Whereas OFAC has directed the district to submit a corrective action plan. Whereas the members of the district's Board of Ed have been advised of the findings of the report, as well as the proposed remedial and corrective action taken. Whereas the board agrees with and supports the district's corrective action plan. Whereas the regulation NJAC 6A23A 5.6 and the OFAC report require the resolution to be sent to OFAC within 10 days of adoption by the district, and the findings of the report be posted on the district's website. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that the district adopts the remedial action as the corrective action plan. And it's further resolved that the resolution be sent to OFAC within 10 days of adoption by the district and the board, and the findings of the report be posted on the district's website.
Do we will now entertain a motion to adopt this resolution?
Move it. Second.
Mr. Lewis, second by Mr. Jackson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Motion carries.
We now have old and new business.
Mr. Chair.
I would ask before we go into old and new business that if we do have any requests for information, that we follow the protocols that we all agreed upon at our board retreat, which is to submit those formally to Shawea Hamilton via email, and that we allow the district their time frame of, I believe it's 72 hours to respond to those. So, old and new business?
Mr. Chair. I'm going to be very quick. Just a few points that a couple of speakers brought up this evening. I'm requesting that you and I, along with our the superintendent, assistant superintendent that we aligned with, Mr. Haggerty, sit down and meet because, as we know, Behringer, we get constant reminders of the issues, not only here, but I know, and I'm sure as you as well, they stop us in the street, the stores, and they're constantly explaining to us what, what's going on. So, I want to know, does Behringer need a complete overhaul, or what's the issue? So I'm requesting that you and I speak with Mr. Haggerty, since that has been put back into his preview. And other issues that I have, I will submit in writing via email and submit them to the district.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the Behringer situation. I just go back to, my experience over the district for many years. From time to time, there were various crisis situations of management in a school, and in the past, what I remember happening was that a team of administrators would go into a school and would basically work with the administration to resolve the problems, and that they would stay for whatever period of time was designated that it was needed, and to implement the plan. And then after that, perhaps one or two administrators would stay on to make sure that the administration and the teachers were able to, continue to follow through on the protocols that had been established. And I'm not saying that everything in the past worked or that everything has to be done the way that was done in the past, but I'm just saying that this is something that I have seen work, and that there needs to be, and that Behringer in particular needs to be addressed aggressively. So, that's it.
Mr. Lewis.
Just two things. I wanted to thank Mr. Mitch Center. We did a walkthrough last Wednesday of Speedway Elementary School, and the kids are awesome there. I was able to see the way the staff is preparing the students on every level, from high school to college, how they have hallways named after certain colleges, and they have murals of the high schools in the city. So I just want to commend the staff over there at Speedway Elementary School, and I ask them to keep up the good work.
Okay. Thank you. There's no other comments from board members. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Jackson, second by Salinger. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Being adjourned. Good night. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Thank you all for coming out this evening. Thank you. Enjoy the holidays, and we will see you all in 2015. Thank you.